Okay, so we are at the end of this excellent VACCIIDCON, and we will have some short discussion on this Pramod vaccine 2024 strain. And I am going to give you the vaccine for all the 24 hours so that लगा ले टीका जिसका नाम है जोग और भगा दे सब रोग. Okay, so remember, all the diseases will disappear if you follow what I am trying to tell you. I am a good friend of yours, and then you can see that there are some degrees. One of them is MD, which is a true degree. But then FOTC stands for father of two children. So never neglect your children. First vaccine. Number two, PhD, that stands for Professor of the Happiness Department. Okay. So always remember that you may be a professor of pediatrics, but you are the professor of the Happiness Department in your family, with your neighbors, and in the society. And of course, keep some good hobbies. I have followed the languages like Sanskrit, French, and Spanish. Okay. So, I met recently one of my friends. That way I keep meeting Dr. Kishore very often, quite often. But then he said, Jog, I am not at all interested in this life. मेरे बैच के काफ़ी दोस्त गुजर गए, ऊपर गए. हाँ, कबर्ड में काफ़ी कैश है. और I have now nothing to be done in my life. Children are abroad. And that's why I thought that, I am sensing some kind of frustration in his mind. Okay. And I was not very happy about it. And then in the OPD, those IT sector parents, which I told you, they keep coming. They have started, Googling before they ask anything. And that's why we need to be updated. So on one side, so the scenario of 2024 is changing. Okay. And that's why you have to be very, very happy and academically updated. And remember that when we live our life, if you imagine or introspect, many times we wear different masks for different people at different situations. So one for the wife, one for the children, one for the in-laws, बहुत बड़े, they are very great people, अगर मन में क्या है आपको मालूम है. Then one for the friends, one for the neighbors, okay. The one neighbor, not very good, but in the mind you know that, something else is going on. Then one for the hospital staff and one for the patients. And Dr. Jog forgets what is his real face when he is trying to wear so many masks, on his face. And that's why first vaccine you must take is Sehat vaccine, Sehan Smith Health, which includes good sleep. The microbiota which we discussed yesterday, when you sleep, even the microbiome sleeps, okay? So if you want that microbiota to be healthy, you must remember that you must take adequate sleep, okay? Exercise, hobby, then ahar, that is annam, and the time management. These are very important components of your sehat. And in the morning, after you get up with a good adequate sleep of 7 or 8 hours, okay, always say good morning to everybody. You yourself say. Many of us do not speak to our family members or others, but say good morning. In Spanish, it's buenos dias. And then he is the president of the Indian Society of Pulmonology. And he has given a lot to our people, okay. So in the morning, please follow Anulom, Vilom, Kapal, Bhati, Bhasrika and all, everything. So that you will always feel better for the entire day, okay. And it starts with good health. So the first vaccine, as I am trying to tell you from Pramod, that P stands for good physical health, okay. And that's why you must be fit, okay. Anything which is frequent, intense and time bound, FIT, okay, that means a daily brisk walk of 40 minutes, FIT, that is something which is related to fitness. That means when you walk daily, it is the frequency, intensity is brisk, and 40 minutes is the duration, okay. And remember, you have to have a fitness test. I always tell in my talks about Dr. Jog's fitness test. I have not, worn the blazer today, which was gifted by my father-in-law free of cost when I got married. That is the only free thing that your father-in-law gives you. Later on, usually you have to pay for many things. Doesn't matter. So, if it fits you, even after 30, 35, 40 years of a successful marriage, okay, every word is important, then you are physically fit, okay, remember that. You are physically fit if that blazer still fits you, okay. Actually, I have gone down over last few months, and that's why that fitness test is very much true for me. And of course, there is no fitness test for women because they continue to change their dresses very often, okay. So they will purchase different dresses after 1, 2, 3 months. So I cannot formulate any particular test for them. It doesn't matter. Okay. So remember that in the morning, you have to walk with your partner, that is your wife or your husband. Very important. Walk along. That is the only time when probably pediatricians or the physicians can be together. But I have observed that when I walk in the morning, those who are usually walking away from each other with a distance of 20 or 30 feet, usually they are husband and wife, okay? Those who are walking together usually are not the husband and wife. So once I asked one of my friends who was walking, अरे कैसे मैडम कैसी है, बोलते वो मेरी मैडम नहीं है, तो बोले ये कौन है, वो मैं बाद में बताऊंगा बोलता है. But doesn't matter. So the point is that walk with your partner, very important. Otherwise you can walk with your friend. A friend has to be F, frank. He must tell you, Jog, you are not right, this is wrong. R, he should be rational. I, he should be intelligent, okay, किसी बुद्धू के साथ नहीं घूमने का, okay. E, it could be of either sex, and ND means usually non-doctor. It also means non-drinker, but वो छोड़ देंगे, दमन में तो वो बोल नहीं सकता. But then he should be a non-doctor friend. You know, I have so many different, people like the lawyers, the income tax people, the chartered accountants, engineers, and recently there was a milkman who has been added to our group, and he just told me as to how to maintain the quality of the milk even after diluting it with water, okay. So lot of information is gathered by these people. So you have to have a very, very good friend, and remember that you have to be with the moment. To be with the moment is an important vaccine. Just now Nishchal bhai told you that during that 1 minute of closing the eyes, you are in the moment, in that present, okay. So when you are walking also, you have to look at all the attractive faces in the ground or the park where you are walking. Don't pretend, okay. If you pretend, then you will come in trouble, okay. So always whatever is there in the heart, you should speak out, okay. We'll come to this HBD and 108 in a minute. And then in the morning, after you finish your morning walk and other things, when you are ready to go to the clinic, please remember they have to pedal your way to the clinic. In Vapi and Daman, it's very easy because the distances are not too much. So you have to pedal, you have to use your bicycle, okay. And when you do that, you release lot of endorphins. Even with your brisk walk, so many happiness molecules are released, and that's why the second one is of course happiness vaccine with these neurotransmitters like dopamine. We all know that when baby is born and when the mother takes the baby close, a vaccine, rather the molecule is released which is oxytocin, which increases the bonding, okay. And that is why you put the baby immediately onto the shoulder or rather abdomen and the chest of the mother, that. That is because the oxytocin is released to a great extent, and there is a neurotransmitter which is known as anandamide, okay, which is an endogenous cannabinoid. So it gives lot of happiness when you are doing something that you like. Suppose if you like to sing, so when you are singing, those molecules are released. Remember, this anandamide is close to Pramod, so you can Google it out. So anandamide is there in Google. So remember that it gives you lot of happiness, okay. And I was trying to tell you about that HBD, which stands for happy birthday. So H means hypertension, B means blood pressure, and D stands for dyslipidemia and disease screening. So these three things have to be done by you for yourself and for your friends on every happy birthday of yours or your friend's birthday, okay. So that disease screening includes electrocardiogram, a stress test, maybe a prostatic surface antigen or a self-breast exam, but do it regularly, because on the happy birthdays, rather than cutting cakes and celebrating with the parties, you first do this. So whenever there is any happy birthday of my friend, usually I go to him, or of course not to any her, because I have to go to only him, and then I make him lie down, and then make him rather allow me to examine his blood pressure and glucometer and check his blood pressure and blood sugar. It is very important that you do it for yourself, your partners, and also for your friends, because I have seen so many doctors whose wives, they used to complain of weakness, finally got landed into the ICU with diabetic ketoacidosis, okay. So many who had a back pain and long back, I remember one of them had pot spine. This should not happen to your family members. So take care of your health first. If you are hypertensive, take the anti-hypertensive medication regularly. अरे वो तो मर गया, क्यों मर गया? Hypertensive hemorrhage हो गया. अरे blood pressure की गोली नहीं लेते था. Nobody will excuse that. If you die in a road accident, that's okay, because that's not your fault. But if you don't take the anti-hypertensive medication, that is your fault. Whatever is preventable, do that. अरे उसको मालूम था मोटा है, साला BMI बहुत है, लेकिन कभी भी उसने अपने खाने पे कंट्रोल नहीं किया, कभी एक्सरसाइज नहीं किया. It is his fault. So he knows. So remember, whatever is preventable, please prevent it. And remember, for your others, you have to remember happy birthday to flu. 2 means take pneumococcal vaccine as well as flu vaccine on the happy birthday. You remember to take the flu shot once annually. So that is replace that happy birthday to you by flu. Also take husband and wife, both of you, because within the family, both of you are important, okay. And then you and your team, that means your people from the hospital. So remember, that is happy birthday to flu also. And I was telling you about this 108. That is Dr. Pramod Jog's birthday, 108, that is 10th August. So 1 hour of exercise, which we have just seen. zero screen time, which is next to impossible these days, and 8 hours of sleep. So these three things are very important. If you do not follow them, then you will have to call the ambulance, which has a number 108. So that is the emergency ambulance number. So remember this from both the sides. Okay. Then, again it is said, somos lo que comemos. That is, we are what we eat. Okay. So follow what is called as IAP diet. It contains iron. Iron is very important. Many of us take multivitamins, but we don't take iron. So next time any person from any pharma who manufactures iron tablets or capsules, please take a monthly stock every month, okay? So that, you get one tablet. Of course, you can purchase also, but as pediatricians, we are now habituated to ask everything to the representatives. Don't do that. Anyway, if you want, you can take it. And then antioxidants and proportionate carbohydrates, proteins and fats. These three have to be in proportion, okay? Next talk at some other time will be how to reduce weight, okay? And I will give you the tips in some other talk, but remember you have to keep the weight as per your height and the formula, okay? And most important for the brain is the RSV vaccine. That's not the respiratory syncytial virus, but it is the right brain stimulation vaccine, okay? Stimulate your right brain if you do not want to get rusted. Remember, the left brain is connected with matching the pairs, fill in the blanks, and giving answers in one sentence and all, which we have been doing in 10th, 11th, 12th standard and MBBS and all. But the right brain remains to be stimulated. So when you write, when you read, when you speak, when you sing, when you do something creative, play tennis, badminton, cricket, the right brain is always very, very active. All our players, singers who are top notchers and others, they have right brain which is very powerful, okay? That doesn't need, anything else like going to the school and all. Of course, education is one part, but then reading often, singing often, whatever you do, if you do it often, then automatically your creativity increases. And remember, when I started my practice, I remember there was another pediatrician who was practicing by my side who had written entrance to the clinic. And I used my right brain and wrote main entrance in front of my clinic. So when people came, they started saying, this is entrance, this is main entrance. So let me go this way, okay? So people started coming from that side. Something like that. So during COVID also, many people had written, no mask, no entry. Then I thought that this is, something like becoming negative. So I wrote there, get your mask free here to enter, okay? So people used to enter, "Arey, phukat mein mask milega." So remember, you have to change the same and use your right brain. On the tiles, when you come up to the clinic, you have to put up, different tiles of different gods. I had put up so many gods, but most of the gods, they lost the race. Finally, Sai Baba won the race because, people used to, spit at the corners, and that was creating a big headache. So when I changed the tiles and used my creativity, then people stopped, spitting at the corners when they used to climb the staircase, okay? Keep the magazines in the waiting room. But when I started this, there were many who used to tear up the pages. Those who had pictures of, at that time, different actresses were famous. Like, of course, at our time, Zinat Aman and Mumtaz were famous. Later on, the days changed. Then Vipasha Basu came. Of course, the list is better known to you. Doesn't matter. So all the people, they used to tear up the pages. Then I created one rubber stamp which said, if this page or if this magazine is not found in Dr. Joke's clinic, it has been stolen. Okay. So with this rubber stamp, what happened? If some father used to tear the page from the magazine because it had some beautiful picture, वो घर में जाके बच्चा देखता था, डैडी आपने चुरा के लाया जो क्लिनिक से, तो फिर he had a big tough time. So every page you have to put a rubber stamp. If you don't find this here, it has been stolen. Okay. So remember, use some of these ideas which are creative, and of course keep some play area in the clinic as per your creativity, and also take academic vaccine. When I got into the medicine, and at that time I had the gold medal and I had stood first. So my father gifted me a penda. Penda is not our Jai Siaram Penda from Rajkot. That is pen and a diary. Okay, so if you see in my pocket, every time I will have pen and a diary. Every time you will see Dr. Joke sitting at some corner and writing down notes. Because remember, the diary is an extended brain. Okay, you cannot rely on your memory for long. So always write down whatever you feel is important. Okay, and remember, keep an attachment with the teaching institutes. You pass out MBBS or MD or DCH, and then get an attachment, because there are two cells in immunology, T cells and B cells. T cells are teachers and B cells are businessmen. So after you pass out, many times you directly become businessmen. But then remember that the immunity which is T cell dependent is always better. Okay. So if you have immunity on, when you are attached with some teaching institute, and at the same time, if you are also having the business, then the T cells dependent business will be better. The patients will say, Sala, जो टीचिंग हॉस्पिटल कॉलेज में भी जाता है और प्रैक्टिस भी करता है, इसका मतलब है नॉलेज अच्छा रहेगा. सो इट विल हेल्प यू टू हैव अ बेटर प्रैक्टिस. रिमेंबर दैट. And then remember to teach the PGs, postgraduates you have to teach, because when you teach, you are the person, who learns maximum, okay? So when I am now giving a talk on, say, hepatitis A vaccine, now I have learned it more, okay? So remember, you know what you don't know when you teach, okay? And in your vehicles, now when you are going back to your home either by train or car, keep some audio or some mobile on which you have some recorded speeches or something, so that your car will act as a university on the wheels, okay? So you will learn a lot in that half an hour talk or something or the other. And then we had one Bhajani Mandal where we had 15 to 20 pediatricians. We used to meet very regularly, but our mentor Dr. Rajesh Joshi left the world, and that's why the meetings have been suspended. But then the point is, we used to discuss all the journal club articles, etc., every fortnight, which used to keep us very, very fresh, okay? And be positively rational, not politically rational. That means don't say something from the dais and do something in your practice. You are shouting, don't give steroids, don't give antibiotics, but in practice you are using that. Don't do that. That is very important, okay? And as I told you, you will get bright, brand new thoughts, okay? Particularly early in the morning, while you are still in the bed. So keep a pen and a paper under your pillow, okay? I still keep it. And suddenly in the morning, if I get up and get good thoughts, I write it down. In the beginning, it was very tough, because then my wife used to get up at the same time and see what I am doing under the pillow, what I have kept. But then I told her, don't worry, these are only good thoughts, no other things inside, okay? So these are called as bed thoughts, and they are very creative thoughts. Nobody else in the world gets those thoughts, remember that. So these thoughts come during or after exercise, while you are under a shower, like Archimedes got the answer. Of course, you need not come out of the bathroom like Archimedes came, but then you can jot down and write it in. If you visit my house, you will find pen and a paper at every place. Inside the washroom, inside the kitchen, inside the living room, under my pillow, in my car, because thoughts come to my mind anytime, okay? That is why you should remember that. You, while driving, every time, okay? Of course, while driving, keep it by the side on your seat. Otherwise, if you are driving and writing, then along with the pen and diary, you will also go up. Don't do that, okay? And then remember, maintain your childlike and childhood qualities. So I am going to tell you this MMR vaccine. One of them is maintaining these qualities, other is motivation, to which I will come. So remember that I told you that in the beginning, when you become a doctor, you are a central D. You get surrounded by other D. These are the dollars, the money. Then you are surrounded by another D, that is dear ones, okay? And the central D gets compressed and becomes a donkey, another D. So don't lose those childlike qualities. I am sure everybody here is a good reader, he has some hobby like reading, singing, dancing, or cricket or tennis, whatever it is. So maintain those qualities, otherwise you start looking prematurely old. Don't do that. Don't lose those qualities, because they are the boosters. And that's why, remember, we have either of these 12 intelligences, everybody of us. Somebody might be a scholar in languages, somebody might be a logical thinker, somebody might be a mathematically intelligent person who can manage the accounts of the hospital, somebody might be having a musical intelligence, somebody might have interpersonal relations which are good, he builds a very good team like Krunal, or intrapersonal, like the one who meditates. So everybody has different qualities, and one of them has to be there with you. So use that quality as a booster. So this is a booster vaccine, remember that, okay? And for your teammates, you have to have a motivational vaccine. You are existing here because your teammates and staff members and others are there working for you, okay? Just give me some 5 minutes. So don't lose the ones who are having a good IQ. There are many with you, the staff members and the receptionists and others. Please maintain those with good IQ by paying them more. People leave the jobs for very minor things. The neighboring pediatrician is giving 500 rupees extra, so they leave. But the association with you for all the 15, 20 years is lost, okay? So pay them extra. Only motivation for most of these people is money. Try to change it to teamwork. But then if it is difficult, increase the pay and retain the people. For you to increase by 500 and 1000 is not great at all. But don't lose good people. To get good people in the world is extremely difficult, particularly these days, okay? Celebrate their birthdays. Cut the cake on their birthday and give the remaining cake after distributing to all. Let them take it home back. Don't bring it to your home. Give them. So let them eat at home with their family members. And remember, there is no word I in the word team. Yeah. You can please wait for 5 minutes, because you won't get Dr. Joke to listen to again. Okay. So remember that. So in the team, there is no alphabet I. So remember that you have to be very, very positive in your life. So this is a positivity vaccine. So be in the company of PGs. PGs are the positive and the good people. Okay. So there are always people in the community who will pat on the back of Dr. Jog and say, you are doing a good job. Otherwise, you know, there will be people who will say, about 9.5 hours का journey करके पुणे से दमन आने किसने बोला है, छोड़ दे घर पे बैठ. Don't do that. You know, my father used to say, if you want to do something, you know, if the mind is asking you whether I should do, whether I should do, whether I should do it. And if your mind is asking whether I should eat, whether I should eat, whether I should eat, don't eat. Okay, remember, this is the principle. Okay, so follow. If you want to go somewhere, go there. Okay, and then, you know, this in Marathi, I have written some sentence there. I will just translate it for you. You know, there are many staff members who are negative. You know, they will say, वो डेंगू का पेशेंट था ना, वो सला सर एक 5 दिन पहले ही गुजर गया. So when the new patient comes, he gets scared. So remove these negative people from your, you know, clinic, and pump up your emails from negativity to positivity. Don't only show those emojis, thumbs up, itna nahi. Write down few sentences so the person in front of you who reads feels better. And always keep away from rinkus. Rinkus are the people who have wrinkles on the forehead. Okay, always wrinkles. Okay, they will speak always about age. Sir, you are now 50, you are 60, you are 70, you are 80. Remove that 0 from the age. Remember, if you are 70, behave like you are a 7-year-old. I just met Raju Bhai, probably has left. He is 75-year-old, but he is behaving as if he is having 7-year-old enthusiasm. Okay, so remember, very important. And then बीमारी, there are people who are always cribbing. मुझे hypertension है, मुझे diabetes है, आजकल, you know, backache बहुत है. If you start cribbing, the person in front of you, he leaves you. बोलता है साला मिलते हैं तो हमेशा बीमारी के बारे में ही बोलता है. Okay, so don't say about anything about your illness. Okay. एंड द क्लाइमेट. दमन में कितना ह्यूमिड है. अरे तो ह्यूमिड होने ही वाला है ना, बारिश में तो बारिश होगी, मौसम ठंडा है तो ठंड लगेगी. सो व्हाट इज टू बी सेड अबाउट इट. सो दोज हु स्पीक अबाउट क्लाइमेट, keep them away. Okay, because negative people are like open cases of cocks, and they will spread acid fast bacilli everywhere, making everybody negative. Remember. So if you have any person in your clinic who is negative, keep them away. I don't have any answer if your partner is negative. Okay, okay, and then use the words like great, excellent, pat on the back. Of course, recently I you know, spoke to one of my resident doctors, and you know, she had very bad handwriting. So I got little irritated. So I said, what is this very bad handwriting? So she came along with me to, you know, see off to the car, and she said, sir, but you did not appreciate how fast I put the intracath when the child is having seriousness or he is in shock and all. Then I realized that, you know, I must concentrate on positive things of our residents also. Okay, so remember, everybody has some good thing. So appreciation is a tonic. Also tell it to the wife that the food that you have prepared today is very good, and I hope it is better tomorrow. So every day you have to say that. Okay, and remember that there are thought attacks, and that's why you have to erase the negative thoughts. On an average, we get 20,000 thoughts in the day, and many of them are negative. Very few are positive. So convert the negative thoughts into positive. A waiter who brings a non-vegetarian sandwich, if you order a vegetarian sandwich, don't accept it. A negative thought is like a non-vegetarian sandwich. Okay, tell him, don't bring it, I have not ordered. So don't order that negative thought. Keep it away. Don't allow it to enter inside. Difficult, but try to practice. And enlist 5 happiest moments. Very important vaccine. In the living room, write down. I stood first in the pre-medical exam. I stood first in MBBS. I became president of IAP. My children are doing well. Something like that. So if you count good, you know, things, there will be 5 or 6 or 7. Okay, so jot them down, write it in bold letters, take a printout from computer and put it in the living room. Whenever you are under stress, this will prevent mental depression. Very important vaccine. And then I told you how to choose the positive thoughts. If somebody says you are elderly, tell him, no, I am not elderly, I am senior. Okay, and I told you, if you are physically 60, remember you are mentally 6. If you are 70, you are mentally 7. And if you are 80, be mentally 8. Okay, and identify your push button. What is the one which will push me to positivity? Is it music? Are these the songs? Is it something which I did in my past? Something like that. Okay, and that's why earlier years, around 40, try to know the art of living. Okay, middle age, try to know the art of leading. I just met Dr. Badra. He said, I am doing so many things like Udan, and he had that, you know, patriotism and health and civic everything. You know, he has been doing a great thing. So he is now having that art of leading. And after 60, try to know the art of leaving. Okay, slowly after 60, try to leave. It's very difficult, but then you have to try it hard because your requirements are minimum. So try to understand it as fast as possible after 60. Okay, and have some good, you know, colleague who is of 40 years old, so that that will be a win-win situation. What do you mean by win-win? Wisdom and experience of Dr. Jog combined with work, energy and enthusiasm of someone younger. So that is WW. Together you will do wonders in your profession also. So when somebody asks you, Jog, what do you do? I tell them I practice, I read or I do some research, I speak or I teach. So that is PQRST. You will ask me, where is that Q? Q is of course the queen of the house, and that is my wife. Okay, don't neglect Q. I have written it in red. If you neglect Q, you will find why that T is again red. If you neglect Q, the T waves in the PQRST complex will become inverted, and then you will get a heart attack. Remember, so do all these things, but see that the Q is not neglected. Okay, so start today. Follow your heart and intuition, very important, and take this Pramod vaccine every day. Maintain your physical health, positive attitude, rationality, academic updating, maintaining childlike qualities, having one extra quality of those intelligences, and discarding bad memories. Okay, so let us leap into this leap year 2024 with lovely, energetic, academic, Pramodified behavior. And I must say, smile is a lifetime booster vaccine. Want you to go back smiling. I want you to go back smiling. Go back and remember that you will get a lot of help from this Pramod vaccine. I will just say only 3 things. Swasth raho, be healthy. Vyast raho, that is be engaged in the work. Or mast raho, enjoy life. Thank you.